Hello, everyone. This is Moses. I am the founder and executive director of the Innocence Guide. Our goal is to make sure no innocent person is ever convicted of a crime they didn't commit. Before I get right to it, I do have to read this disclaimer. None of this is meant to constitute legal advice. This is for educational purposes only. If you need legal advice, please consult with a lawyer. A video you saw online is not going to be as good as the advice you get from a lawyer. Trust me. All right, with that out of the way, let me tell you a story about what happened to me and why I started this nonprofit. Back in 2018, I used to work for TSA at Love Field Airport in Dallas. Now, I know you definitely have some opinions about the whole airport security screening thing, and you're probably right. I mean, I have my own opinions and stories I could share, but let's say that for another time. On a slightly unrelated note, I actually recognize most of the people up there. Hey guys, if you ever see this, Moses says hi. One day I was taken by some high ranking TSA official and taken to the building in the background with the cars at the front. That is the building the Dallas Police Department uses as a base of some sort. The airport's owned by the city, and if some idiot tried to bring a gun or something, a cop can arrest him. Inside, I was taken to an interrogation room where two detectives asked me some basic information. I know better now, and some of you would probably do the same and answer earnestly. Trust me, don't do that, and I'll explain why later. A little bit into it, they told me that I have been accused of breaking and entering into the house I used to live in by the landlord's daughter. I'll be honest, I can't for the life of me remember how I reacted exactly. I think it was a quick, what? Fortunately for me, I managed to remember seeing that law professor Dwayne's YouTube video and book, and I asked for a lawyer and ended it there, and you should do the same. One of the detectives, he's called Mans, he told me that I'm going to be arrested. And at that point, I was pretty much screwed. I still said nothing. They left me there alone for a few more minutes. That's another tactic they do. Sometimes people talk to themselves, and when that didn't work, they just let me go. Well, eventually they did arrest me. It was here at the Love Connection. The public can't use it now, it's employee only now. Two police officers came and took me away. Some person was trying to like turn in a lost credit card or something, but they just ignored it. I was sitting next to my supervisor, by the way, when they came and arrested me. Yeah, imagine what he was thinking. I think around like 10 people saw me get carted away, and there was like five other employees who just worked at the airport who were like, man, what's going on here? The cops were nice enough to let me take my blue shirt off, you know, the one that the TSA uses, and tow my car if I wanted it. They were not nice enough to arrest me like literally anywhere else. Like, I mean, come on. Like right in front of everyone? Well, I do know what I was thinking. I was thinking, man, what is going to happen to me? And those cuffs they use, they really suck. I was taken here at the North Tower Detention Facility in Dallas. At TSA, you only pat down people of the same gender, but here, a woman patted down everybody. It felt weird, and I feel really bad for her. You get basic medical screening, they take your fingerprints and other junk that I forgot about. Man, the whole process takes forever. You get moved around to so many different cells and places, and then some person inside was surprised to see me. There was nothing on my record, and then bam, a felony. Eventually, I got put into a group of people. I was went to see a magistrate. She was super late, so we had to go back to the waiting room. When she did show up eventually, like I think it was like an hour later, she read us all the charges we were facing, and I heard a lot of assaults. And the dude next to me got arrested for some high level credit card fraud, I think. Even though he was really nice and helpful, man. I wonder what happened to him. Eventually, I ended up here in this nice, lovely place as a trustee. Trustees are people who are low risk and they're allowed to work for the jail as a slave, well, for free. I didn't want to lift a finger since I wasn't supposed to be here, and I kind of like to get paid for my work. But I didn't want to offend my very, very nice inmates who all believed me. So for 3 days, I was pretty much just languishing in there, wondering if I was ever going to get out or if I'm going to get convicted. You hear stories about people who waste decades of their life in prison for something they didn't do, and I was wondering if I'm going to be one of them. And we're going to go over a few of those later. Jail is horrible. They make you get up like at 4 in the morning. It's horrible. You just wait and you sleep, and that's like all you can do. There's a TV with like 8 channels, and the food really sucks. Well, it did for me. Maybe you can get used to it, but I doubt it. You can like buy stuff like pencils or papers, and some guy had a book. I don't know how he did that. But anyways, eventually my mom bailed me out when she couldn't find me. And some of you may be wondering why I didn't ask to be released, on a PR bond. That's because I didn't know I could do that. Anyways, here's a shout out actually to a jail worker there who told me it was the same someone snitched on me. Yeah, thanks a lot, jerkwad. made me feel better. This is where you get pooped out of when someone bails you out. Just go on down from here, turn right, and keep walking. Then you're gonna hit Main Street eventually. And man, fresh air has never smelled and felt so good. My mom was out there waiting for me, but I just quick say hello. Sorry, this happened. I got in my car. I went to a really nice burger place on Garland Road called Keller's. Well, I wish I did. It was closed, and I actually like literally punched my steering wheel because I was so mad. I went to Whataburger instead, and that was the best Whataburger of my entire life. This is the court I had to go to for the case. Look how evil that thing looks. This is a really nice photo of the bum place I had to go to every week. The people of the evening shift were really nice. The next 11 months was the absolute worst period of my entire life. I lost my job, for obvious reasons. I had to check in at that bomb place every week, and that got annoying fast. I couldn't find a job since I was a felon, practically. If you look up my record, it shows an arrest for it, and my employers don't care if it's like pending or not. And for the first period of my life, I actually had some mental issues that I've never experienced before, like severe depression and panic attacks. I never had one until got accused of this crime. Money was another big problem. Experienced poverty for the first time. As you can see there, I had 13 cents in the bank, which just blew my mind. I've never had that happen to me before. And then I got scammed twice. It was almost three times. I'm not gonna go into too much. Well, I'm not gonna go into any detail about this. It's just embarrassing. I fell behind on my student loans, obviously, and I had to pay more in later on. And lastly, I got fired by my attorney since lawyers cost money, and obviously not everyone works for free. And then my friends stopped contacting me for some reason. I don't know why they did that. And to top all of that off, I lost my paternal grandparents in a car accident in Mexico. So, as you can see, this was not a good time. And it isn't a good time for anybody who's been falsely accused. Alright, on a lighter note, here's how I got the case dismissed with freedom butter. Yeah, towards the end, the prosecutor offered me a final deal that I refused. She offered me like various other stuff, like a memo agreement or some other stuff. I guess she must have gotten sick of me because she offered me a dismissal if I hand over 6 cans of peanut butter to the North Texas Food Bank, which I did. That might sound weird or funny to some of you, but if you look there, you see it counts for 2 hours of community service per can. Just to make me go away, I guess. I still have the receipt, by the way. I'm thinking about framing it. Okay, so how much money did I lose going through this whole mess? Spoiler alert, I lost a lot of money. Now, this may not seem much to you if you live in an expensive area. This happened in 2018, 2019 in Texas, so maybe you can just triple or double that amount. Either way, I'm not getting any of this back. I have lost this forever. There is no chance of me suing the state or suing the person who accused me. It's never going to work. I could have avoided all of this if I didn't talk to the police. Now, I know a lot of you have definitely seen this somewhere before. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against blah, 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 blah. It's called the Miranda warning. You are literally warned not to talk to them. And like the gullible idiots we all are, we do so anyways. Ask any good lawyer, judge, cop, prosecutor, or anyone else in the legal system. If the police want to have a friendly talk at the station, don't. Never talk to the police without the advice of a lawyer. Even then, you should always refuse to talk to the police, even if a lawyer is next to you. And this is the back of my business card, and I leave a little spot there for the advice your lawyer gives you. And don't take my word for it, take it from the Supreme Court. They have repeatedly said that not talking to police is a good idea. One of the basic functions of the privilege is to protect innocent men. The privilege serves to protect the innocent who otherwise might be ensnared by ambiguous circumstances. Too many, even those who should be better advised, view this privilege as a shelter for wrongdoers. They too readily assume that those who invoke it are either guilty of the crime or commit perjury in claiming the privilege. Now you may be asking, hey, can you give me some examples of those circumstances? Sure, I can. Alright, the first one is inadvertent confessions or overcriminalization. So no one knows exactly how many laws out there. Estimates can go into literally hundreds of thousands if you include regulatory crimes. So something harmless you do or say can be like an actual crime. And the example I like to give is prescription drugs. So sometimes doctors prescribe very powerful stuff to children, and if have that with you or had in your car, well, guess what? You just got charged with possession. Or, well, you can be. Alright, next up are honest mistakes, or what can be seen as perjury. So imagine a cop is interviewing you about an incident that happened the other day where a nice old lady was viciously murdered. And so, you're honest, you tell them the truth that you were at your friend's house. Unfortunately, it was actually the day before, and now you just lied to the police. Yeah, sure, it was a mistake, but now you just made yourself look suspicious. If the prosecutor wanted to, they can decide to charge you with perjury. Juries are another big thing. You live and die by the jury in criminal law, and they can be easily manipulated by both sides. What's important is how the jury is going to react to your reactions. So, how are you supposed to act if someone dies? Are you supposed to be calm? Are you supposed to like freak out? Like, what's the scale there? Because the detectives who interview you are going to definitely take notice of that. They're going to say to the jury, "Oh, the defendant was very quiet," or "he was very crazy," or something, and then you just don't know. They're going to make you look bad no matter what you do. In a similar vial is the nature of the accusation. So if someone has accused you of something really nasty like child molestation or something, I don't think there's anything that you can say that will make you look not guilty. A really big part of all of this is police misconduct, and misconduct can be broken up into various forms, and one of those is violence. So innocent people have been beaten or otherwise coerced into confessing into something they didn't do. Is it rare? Honestly, kind of, but I still wouldn't take the chance. And of course, the police can just make up crap to make you look guilty. They have gotten witnesses to lie for them. They forged documents. They've gotten forensic experts to lie and say that, hey, this guy's guilty. I'll show you an example of that later on. So, the most common form of police misconduct is withholding exculpatory evidence. And exculpatory evidence is evidence that otherwise proves or shows that offended didn't commit a crime. So, you can imagine just being honest and having an alibi, and the police go ahead and verify it, but they just pretend it doesn't exist. So, let's go over a few examples of people who got completely screwed by talking to the police. And we're going to start with Randall Dale Adams. So Adam was walking along Fort Worth Avenue in Dallas, Texas, when he got picked up by 16-year-old David Harris. They would go on to do random stuff like watch a dirty movie or drink. And then later that day, Harris actually killed a cop when he got pulled over. He shot him like 4 times, I think. Harris would actually later go on to kill another man while he was trying to rape a woman. If the police hadn't been messing around trying to frame an innocent man for whatever reason, that could have been stopped. So obviously, the police went on to interview Adams about what happened. They initially tried to make him sign a confession that he was the one who killed him, but what he did do was sign a statement detailing his activities on the day. Now, when it came down to the trial, like way down the line, it was actually taken as a confession because he was near where officer was, shot to death. If that wasn't enough, the prosecutors also had to use perjured witness testimony. So one of the witnesses' daughter had like pending robbery charges, and the prosecutor was like, "Hey, if you help us out and identify Adams, we'll make that go away." And that's exactly what happened. So overall, Adams was in jail for 12 years, and he got nothing in compensation. Now that's actually very common. Most people don't get anything. It's just awful because if he got a pardon, he would have gotten $25,000 or $200 at the very least if he got released on parole or finished his sentence. And technically, he did neither. So next is Arthur Brown. So someone set fire to a magic video store in 1988 that spread to a King Chef restaurant where two employees were sleeping. Fortunately, they both died of smoke inhalation. The landlord of the building said that Brown did work there, so the police went after him. So Brown actually heard that the police were looking for him, and being like the good citizen he was, he called the police from a job site, and then they came and arrested him, where he was beaten and forced to sign a confession after a grueling 7-hour interrogation. Now, that confession would be used to convict them several times over many trials. The prosecutors on the case, Michael Gerber and Mary Lucy, knowingly lied to the court. So the detectives came across a gasoline can that was evidence that that started the fire, and they said that they didn't have it until Brown told them where it was, but that was a lie. They knew where it was beforehand. And another thing, one of the witnesses in the case confessed that one of the police officers forced him to lie about who bought the gasoline. Brown was in jail for 27 years. So with all that, what do you think happened to the prosecutor who lied? What was his fate? He became a judge. Yeah, I know. And I don't even know what happened to the other lady, and I don't care. Fortunately, he is no longer a judge. And lastly, we have Michael Morton. His wife was viciously beaten with a wooden object after celebrating Morton's birthday the day before, and he was honest. He went to the police and he told them the truth. As you might have guessed, the prosecutor used this to his advantage. So he got a quote-unquote expert to testify that Morton's wife was beaten within 4 hours after eating, and then, that put him in a timeline where Morton was the culprit. Naturally, the prosecutor hid other stuff. His son said that it was a monster who did it and not him. Some of the neighbors saw a van that was near the scene. And the last thing was that his wife's Visa card was used somewhere in San Antonio. Guess what? The prosecutor was actually jailed for misconduct. That has literally never happened before. Morton said that if it could happen to me, there's no reason why it couldn't happen to you, and I agree with him. Let's play a game. I want you to guess how long Prosecutor Ken Anderson was in jail. I'll put him in a little corner there. 20 years? 10 years? 5? I'm going to give you a little bit of time to guess. How much time did he get for letting an innocent man rot in jail knowing that he was innocent? We're going to count it down. 3, 2, 1. For those of you who guessed 10 days, you are correct. And you are probably a cynical person, and I really like that. In reality, he only got 4 because he got out early for good behavior. Morton was in prison for under 25 years. Yeah, it's disgusting. At this point, I hope you're no longer surprised by stuff like this. Is 3 not enough for you? That's fair. Have you heard about the National Registry of Exonerations? 3,149 exonerations since 1989. It's a project of the University of California Irvine Newkirk Center for Science and Society, the University of Michigan Law School, and Michigan State University College of Law. This is the most credible organization when it comes to exonerations. You can go and research the 3,000 plus people in the database. As you can see there, the data can be separated into categories like what the offense was or what factors were at play. Give it a try. It's depressing, but that comes with the territory. I'll assume that at this point you believe me and want to know exactly how do you not speak to the police. Good news is that the Supreme Court repeatedly has stated that there is no exact language. As long as you're clear about what your intent is, it will count. Any of these should work, but our recommendation is the last one. I want a lawyer since it's easy and sounds the least suspicious. I do have to warn you that you do have to be direct about it. No, I think, I could, should, would, and slang like, oh, I need a lawyer, dog. There was a case about that. You can look that up. Just be direct. No matter how you say it, ask your lawyer if you want to be sure. Shut up! Talking again is reckless and it gives them more chances to nab you. Don't do it. Not talking to the police is one part of the equation. The other one is having a very good lawyer. There are so many out there and not all of them are good. You need to find a good one. Get them to fact check me and to tell you what's specific to your state. My personal recommendation is that you ask a lawyer to recommend you one. No lawyer will want to tarnish their reputation by recommending an awful lawyer. Do note that if you can't afford a lawyer, one does have to be provided to you at no charge. They're likely to be overworked and underpaid, so give them some slack. My public defender was amazing, but do speak up if there are some issues. Please, 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 screen your lawyer. Anyone can put an advertisement out. Every state should have a website that you can go to and search their bar number. Please do that and check if there are any red flags. Before you sign a contract, make sure you ask some basic questions. Here are some. How much experience do you have? Have you taken on a similar case before? If you go to one of those big law firms, they split up the work around different people. So make sure you have one that was actually doing, what you need. Another question is, do you write for journals or do you have a team of experts at the ready? Take some time and make a list of questions that are relevant to you. If it comes down to it, you can go with your gut feeling. Be proactive. There are ways you can help. You won't know unless you try. And don't lie to your lawyer. Be upfront with everything and tell him the truth. Here's an example of bad lawyering and a lazy prosecutor. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. If you want to read it, just pause the video. But the general gist is that this man got convicted of a firearm charge. And at trial, they only used a photograph. They never actually measured it. And so when they measured it a few years later, bam, it was actually legal. What do you know? Definitely make sure you have a good lawyer. If you want to know more, we do offer a course on our website at www.innocenceguide.org. It goes over more details and more topics like, what to do if the police pull you over. So definitely check it out. Before wrapping this up, I'm going to leave you with this clip of me literally begging you not to talk to the police. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you stay free.